Hi, it's Zeke with the Eastside Church of Christ in Baytown, Texas. Thanks for joining us for this week's Eastside Bible reading for the week of July 26th through August 1st, 2020. There's a lot going on in our reading this week, especially in the Old Testament accounts of the Kings in 2 Kings and in 2 Chronicles. And we get into a period where the names of the kings of both kingdoms, the northern and southern kingdoms, are either the same or very, very similar. So read carefully, it can get a little confusing. We continue with the things that Elisha has done, and we get we're treated to a view of Elisha's predictive ability. Of course, it's inspired by God. He predicts a time in the midst of a famine where there will be abundantly, incredibly cheap food very quickly. And of course it happens, and it happens in a way that the people could never have guessed. He also has a chance to look into the future of the afflictions that would be brought onto Israel by Aram's soon-to-be king Hazael, and the afflictions that he sees them endure in the future are so great that it makes him weep. Jehoram of Judah finally becomes king, and he secures his position by killing off all his brothers. And he's got a couple of dubious distinctions that the text tells us about. One is that his rule is similar to that of the wicked King Ahab of the northern kingdom. And 2 Chronicles 21 tells us why. Because Ahab's daughter was his wife. The other dubious distinction is that when he dies, it tells us in 2 Chronicles 21:20 that he died with no one's regret. Imagine that. He died and nobody cared. Maybe it tells us something about his character. Jehu, meanwhile, sets off on a murderous rampage to wipe out Israel of the remnants of Ahab's household. And he even has Jezebel thrown to her death. Well, while he also rids Israel of Ahab's lineage, he also does something else that's good. He rids Israel of the priests of Baal. And even though that's a good thing, it tells us that when he became king, he didn't depart from the sins of Jeroboam. And so he didn't quite go far enough. We're told about in Judah, where that daughter of Ahab, Athaliah, upon the death of her son Ahaziah, she seizes control of the kingdom. She usurps the throne, and she seeks to secure her position by killing off all the royal offspring. But there's one, an infant named Joash, who survives by being hidden by the priest Jehoiada and his wife Jehosheba. And for 6 years he remains hidden until Jehoiada brings him out, proclaims him king, and has Athaliah executed. And that young boy king becomes zealous for the way of God because he had Jehoiada there to mentor him. And as long as Jehoiada was there, Joash ruled very well. But when Jehoiada died, unfortunately and very sadly, Joash goes off track. In the New Testament, actually continuing on in the Old Testament, in the book of Joel, in the prophetic book of Joel, we see where Joel predicts details of a coming locust invasion. But really the theme of the book is the coming day of the Lord, and he repeatedly entreats the people to repent, because the day of the Lord is coming. Keep a lookout for a passage in Joel chapter 2 that Peter the Apostle will use in Acts chapter 2. You'll see it when you come to it. Meanwhile, in the New Testament, in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus continues and finishes his Sermon on the Mount, and then it tells us of a series of miracles that he performs. Many of them are healings, and many of them are done for the undesirables, the outcasts of society, such as demoniacs, lepers, and even Gentiles. And then Jesus sends his disciples out on what's sometimes called the limited commission, a regional preaching tour. And he reminds them that they'll never be popular, and they can expect to be persecuted. But he also reminds them that if they just stick it out, if they just endure to the end, he says in Matthew 10:22, you will be saved. And that's still true. The one who endures to the end will be saved. Well, there's a lot going on in our Bible reading this week, and so I'll let you get to it. Thanks for joining us. God bless you.